Now, this next turkey is a very expensive one. This next turkey, very, very expensive. To the tune of $88 million. $88 million. That's one hell of an expensive turkey. But you get two for the price of none. Two for the price of none. Chuck Schumer and Amy McGrath. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Oh, God. Where do you even start with these two? Where do you even start with these two? Well, I'd like to start, actually. This didn't get a lot of attention. But before Amy McGrath even won the Democratic primary in Kentucky, there was a Kentucky radio host, Matt Jones. He's a sports host, pretty popular, I guess, in sports radio in Kentucky. He was considering running for Senate against McConnell. And apparently, Chuck Schumer got wind of this, but Chuck Schumer had already politically knighted Amy McGrath, who was fresh off of losing her congressional race. In Matt Jones's book, sorry, all I got is a tweet of this passage, so I'll just zoom in. Matt Jones recounts meeting with Chuck Schumer to go over where Chuck Schumer was basically trying to talk him out of challenging McGrath. So, Matt Jones writes, we move on to talking about Kentucky. I tell him about this book and the plan to visit all 120 counties in the state. He is shocked to learn that I am going to visit everyone in 10 weeks, noting that he hits all the counties in New York once every 2 years, as opposed to Mitch McConnell, who visits one county every 2 years. He asked me how I would go about winning if I were a candidate, and I explained my thinking. To win in Kentucky, any Democrat has to win Louisville and Lexington big, compete well in northern Kentucky, and then cut the margins in rural parts of the state. What I believe I could do differently is actually win in the mountains of eastern Kentucky. I am from there, have a strong connection to the area, and understand the issues important to them. If a Democrat can win the mountains, it changes the whole political calculus of the state. McConnell is particularly vulnerable there because of his poor record when it comes to caring for coal miners. I could tell Schumer is intrigued, Jones recounts. He cuts right down to the chase. Well, what about Amy McGrath? Can she do the same thing? So, obviously, he already had McGrath chosen as his hand-picked corporate stooge to raise a lot of money for the Democrats in the Senate, but lose to McConnell. No, she can't, he said bluntly. The launch of her campaign was horrific. No one knows what she stands for, and she is running for office by trying to avoid tough stands and align herself as more favorable to Trump than McConnell is. That is an insanely stupid strategy that no one believes is authentic or real, and if she utilizes it, she will lose by 15 points or more. He asks how I would deal with Trump's popularity, and I say, I think Kentuckians respect authenticity and honesty. I will say to Trump voters what I always say. On the issues, we agree more than we disagree. We all want better education, health care, and workers' rights. The only difference is I don't like Trump and you do. That's fine, but we both don't like Mitch. Schumer pauses and grins at me slowly. You have thought a lot about this, I could tell. He then goes on to say that while he can't say it publicly, he agrees the McGrath strategy has been poor and that the campaign doesn't listen to anyone and believes it could do it without any help whatsoever. He is frustrated with their actions. Feeling emboldened, I deliver the message I came here to say. Look, if you don't mind me being real, here's the deal. You guys picked Amy McGrath not because you thought she could win, but because you knew she would raise a lot of money and would be a big help for your national ticket due to her impressive background. You don't think anyone in Kentucky can win, so why not pick her? I get it, but the reality is Mitch McConnell is beatable, and you guys are too stubborn to realize it. You need someone who can relate to Kentucky and has a chance of convincing those Republicans who like Trump and hate McConnell to vote Democrat. I could do it. She can't. So, basically what you have here, folks, Chuck Schumer already knew. This is before Charles Booker even got into the race. Chuck Schumer already knew. There's no way Amy McGrath's going to win. Chuck Schumer already knew this was a terrible strategy. But as Matt Jones, the radio host who was considering running, said, it was never about beating Mitch McConnell. It was about fronting the resume on this woman. She was a Marine, brave Marine. She's a woman. What else do we need? Okay, if she runs her campaign basically saying I could push Trump's agenda better than McConnell, this is literally the ad she was running. I could push Trump's agenda more effectively than McConnell. Who cares? We'll raise a lot of money. And boy, did they raise a hell of a lot of money. Amy McGrath raised $88 million from a who's who of Wall Street scumbags, big pharma, fossil fuels, Silicon Valley, real estate developers, basically the whole damn bourgeoisie on the orders of Chuck donated $88 million. Let me tell you something. If Charles Booker had $88 million, Charles Booker would be the senator-elect because he would have defeated Mitch McConnell. What did that $88 million get, Chucky? Ooh. What is that? 19-point loss. Let's just round it to 20, shall we? 20-point loss. Amy McGrath, $88 million. Which shows you that it's all gaslighting all the time from the corporate Democratic establishment. The $88 million, think about what $88 million could have done for a variety of political campaigns. I could think Paula Jean Swearengin could have used that $88 million. I would have preferred it not coming from bankers and these scum. But all of that money for somebody that she knew, Chuck Schumer knew, was going to lose. And now, after she lost her House race, after she lost the Senate race, she now creates a super PAC. She has created a super PAC to help the Democrats in Georgia facing off in their runoff. I guess help them lose too? Can't make this up. Two-time loser with Chuck E. Cheese on her side. Chuck E. Cheese admitted, her strategy's terrible. Chuck E. Cheese had a candidate right in front of him from the eastern mountains of Kentucky who knew the community, who spoke their language, who could have beat McConnell. Probably not as progressive as you or I, but hell of a lot better than Amy McGrath. Chuck E. Cheese said, bye-bye, Matt Jones. And now we have another 6 years of the preeminent turkey, Mitch McConnell. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.